Alright guys, what's up? I'm going to do a little update this morning on what we got going on around the garage. Still got a ton of stuff I'm trying to get cleaned up, an absolute mess. The goal is to get the bikes over here on this side and be able to get a vehicle on this side to work on if I need to. Not sure if that's going to happen yet, just a goal. So we got a new skid plate for the WR450 and I need to get that put on. CRF 110, lost the brake lever last fall, ordered a BBR, waiting for that to come in. Moto bikes are pretty good. Look for a big video on my new bike coming out soon. I think you guys will like it. So on the KX250, if you remember that last New Year's ride I did when my handlebars were flopping around. So here's the clamps that were on there. So I was basically riding with my bars moving like that on both clamps. And the reason is there was some yellow dampers that went underneath here, and it actually set up like this. They reduce vibration, and those dampers all of a sudden disintegrated all in one ride. Pro Taper discontinued these clamps. I think these were called the AccuTrax. Yeah, you can still see a little bit of yellow left there, but they discontinued these in like 2009. And these were on this bike when I bought it blown up in 2010. So I know I have an extra stock clamp sitting around for that thing somewhere, because I put Pro Circuit clamps on this one. But again, that was like 10 or 12 years ago, so who knows where it's at. So yeah, for now, I'm basically going to pull the OEM clamp off this one. I've already robbed the kicker and some plastics, so you know, what's another OEM clamp? I got some mica metals fat bar clamps to put on that OEM clamp so I can still use my mica fat bars. And this bike will be good to go. Just kind of checked the steering stem bearings. They still felt fine. These fork seals aren't leaking or anything. But the shock I still have to do. Just recently was scrolling through the Kawasaki KX250 two-stroke HQ Facebook group and saw where someone is mounting 450 shocks right up to these KX250s. I didn't realize those bolted right up. But it would be great if they did, because I have an 11 KX450 shock just sitting around somewhere. I think it's out in my race trailer. You can see I have a whole slew of shocks over there on the shelf. But I could put my 11 shock on there while I'm rebuilding and revalving this shock. And not have to be pressed for time or anything to get it done. So I may do that. Lastly, my next project is, if you've been around this channel for a long time, you may remember, or you may go back and see, I took apart this carburetor, took it off my mule. It's like a 2007 or 8 model mule 3010 4x4. And, well, just let me show it to you. Here's the carbon stuff. Yeah, guys, so here it is. So this is my grandfather's mule. I think it's a 5 or 6 model, and it's been sitting since about 9 or 10, with the exception of I did get it running very slightly to where I could drive it around the yard back in 13 or 14, and then it's just for one day, and then it's been setting since. Had some people try to work on it, and they just didn't really do it. They kind of let it set. I haven't had time. Finally, last year, I pulled the carb off, and I think I found the problem. Somebody had really messed up one of the jets, and it was stuck in there, and I think that's why they quit working on it. They couldn't get the jet out, messed it up, and just left it sitting. I tried to get the jet out. I couldn't get it out either, and pretty much ruined the carb trying to get it out. A carb is about $400 retail. Prices went down on them a little bit. I found one yesterday. It was like $292. So finally ordered one. I also need a battery, but I would get a little bit of ether inside the intake, and it would run on that last year. So I'm pretty hopeful that the carb will fix it. Took the fuel tank off this morning, flushed it out. The fuel filter looks pretty good. Now that fuel pump, the Kawasaki fuel pump had went bad, and the Kawasaki fuel pump was like $400. So that is like an Amazon special fuel pump. It was like $50 or something, but it seems to be doing fine. So I'm just gonna, that carb should be in a few days. I'm gonna put the carb on, new gaskets on the manifold and on the backside. I'm gonna pump a decent bit of fresh fuel through it. Make sure the fuel's coming clean, and we're gonna see what this thing does. It's probably gonna need a lot of lubrication, and I mean, there's mud that's been sitting there for a decade, guys. So it's definitely gonna need a lot of work. It'll probably need a belt. You know, it's probably gonna need $400, $500, $600 of stuff thrown into it. I mean, tires aren't even bad. It's got 1,600 hours on it. But none of those are working or anything, just driving around the farm. So I really want to get this thing running so I can drive my little boy around this year. Would be great. Of course, it's got the tilt bed and stuff on it. 4-wheel drive. I don't know, I'm excited about this project. The Pitster Pro 110 has been sitting here forever. Rear brakes failed. Not sure if it's the caliper. Not sure if it's the master cylinder. But we bled them and bled them and bled them, and they would not take up. I think you can get this set on eBay or something for $50. So just going to order that and get this Pitster Pro going again. And yeah, that's about it, guys. The dozer, oh yeah, the bulldozer. You can still see it back there in the back. Ordered a throttle cable clamp. Have to fix a couple hydraulic lines and put the belly pan back on, and it'll be good to go. We're gonna start prepping the track. Here's a couple, I've called them rainy day projects, but it's been years and they haven't actually came out of the hole to have anything done to them, but eventually they will. This is a 74 KE 175, and I think this is a 92 or 93 KE 100. All this needs is a top end. This bike needs nothing that I know of besides the motor put back in it. I can't remember where I put the motor, but it is here somewhere. There's a bunch of 3-wheeler motors. So yeah. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Just a little update on a few projects we got going around here. If you're interested in any of these, keep an eye out on the channel, and appreciate you watching.